Hello everyone, today I'm going to talk about The Power by Naomi Alderman. I really enjoyed this book. It was the first book I read by Naomi Alderman, and besides enjoying the story itself, I enjoyed the prose, the writing style too. So I'm curious to read her other books. I think she has two or three other books as well. Um, I usually tend to focus on the positive things when I read a book. It's just intuitive to me. But if there's outstanding flaws, I will mention them too. And in this book, I'd say there's no particular outstanding flaws I'd like to mention, so I'll stick to the main things I enjoyed. So, as the title suggests, the main concept of this book is power. Now, she explores it in a very interesting way, and I think in a way that hasn't really been done before. So I think there's novelty here. Plus, I enjoyed it because she explores it in some ways which I had already considered, but perhaps I hadn't thought about them um to a sufficient extent to maybe discuss it with other people. So it was interesting to see them, uh, you know, being spoken about in the book. I think the main ways in which she talks about power is how does power empower people, because you would usually take that for granted because obviously power empowers people, but I think here she addresses how it empowers people. um, and it could be any sort of power. uh, in this case she went with electricity, and I think that was a really interesting choice. I just also like to say, by addressing how power empowers people, she will mention how it corrupts people as well, how the empowerment can change people. So before and after having the power. So there are several interesting um, consequences maybe of having the power, that one usually wouldn't think about, because I would think, to have a power would obviously be a good thing, but it might not be that obvious. It might not be, you know, um, the good thing can come with undesirable things too. Um, so yeah, she went with electricity, and I think it was a very good choice because, as she puts it, power usually um, has the same shape, as in when a river flows to the sea, you see like the branching of the river. So you've got like the main river, and then the smaller branches. The same thing with uh, lightning. So when lightning strikes, you usually have the main branch and then the smaller scattering branches. If you guys look up the Liechtenstein, I think, scars, of it's the scars people get when they're hit by lightning, you'll see that pattern. Also, family trees, um, even the shapes of synapses in the brain. She mentions how we are made of electricity too. We're electrical beings, human beings. Um, so I think it was a very wise choice. She really knows how to make the this acquiring of the electrical power seem very natural. Plus, she actually gives a obviously fictional explanation, but which is within fiction a very plausible explanation. She gives it historical and scientific background to explain how women have acquired this electrical control power. Um, Also, one thing I liked about her writing in particular was it is very simple, but not in a Hemingway manner. It is very simple, as in The sentences, each sentence is seems handpicked. It's very clear, but it's not simple as in Hemingway simple, because Hemingway, the actual word choice is very straightforward, although powerful as well. Whilst in Naomi Alderman's case, the word choice is not as simple, despite the sentence being simple. So she will use hard words, but which she uses them wisely, and you absolutely get the words um, that she uses. Um, and it's and I think this combination of simple sentences and I don't know if hard is the right adjective, but let's say with hard and hard words, this combination is very interesting when describing ev- um shocking events. So, without spoiling anything, I'll just say when she describes murder, rape, and there's a particular bit where she describes the blinding of a person by squeezing the eye of that person. She describes such events in a very simple way, but with the deserving intensity. So the intensity of the event is there, but without being, um, but without complicating or trying to. So she makes a big deal out of it without leaving the simple prose that she uses throughout the book. So I thought that was really cool. Um, oh, and another thing I loved about the book was the narration. So she has four main characters, three women and one boy, um, and she will throughout the story she will focus on one of them and she will alternate between them to tell the story. Um, and it makes it more interesting because you will see how all the stories um, kind of connect and how these four characters meet throughout the story and how their perspectives blend into a single one. Um, and not only this in terms of narration, but she also was creative in the sense that, for example, there are some online forum discussions, and she actually used the typical forum layouts with the cyber handles, the weird names for the users, um, and she tried to make it really accurate. Like she tried to replicate the style of writing that you'd see in an online forum. There's also some segments where she's describing news on TV. So the TV reporters, talking about the spread of the electrical power amongst the women. Um, so there's very different kinds of narration throughout the book, and she uses them very creatively. Also, when she's talking about the historical origins of the power, she'll mention archaeological findings, obviously fictional ones, but which suggest that women in the past had this power too, and that now it was revived. So she has a great story. She has a great concept. She uses the characters wisely to narrate the story. And on top of that, she is able to build the world with the help of these different narrations. So I would highly recommend this book.